And we are live. We are live. We are live. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, DebraSue, in the studio. Glass City Talent 419 with Toledo to the World with DebraSue. I am so happy to have another very special guest on my show today. We are welcoming the phenomenal Miss Tiffany. And I will tell you, she is a rare gem, as rare as her name is spelled. I had never seen anybody spell their name the way she did. TIPHANI. And so that just goes to speak of your rarity, madam. Thank you, and welcome to my studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so happy to finally have you on because we did a show in the past together, and I was really inspired by you, to be honest with you. So I did a little more research on you and found out that you are quite the enthusiast and the motivational person, and you're the kind of lady I like to have on the other side of my screen, so we can have a very positive conversation, woman to woman, and we can talk about some positive things for our listeners to tune in and maybe get some encouragement from your words as well. So, Miss Tiffany, let's talk about you, young lady. You have a podcast. Let's talk about your podcast first.
All right. So I have actually two podcasts now.
Two podcasts.
Yes, ma'am. So I have Tips Tuesdays, which is my first podcast. I started that in February of 2022, and been just going with it ever since. Since then, it's spun off a live show, which is the Tips Tuesdays live rehash, where I bring in guests to reiterate topics that I'm already doing on the audio podcast. So, whereas I may have been talking about keep going, you might have a different perspective and a different spin on keep going. And the objective of the podcast is to inspire, motivate, and encourage other people in everything that you do in life. So that is Tips Tuesdays. And I release a new episode every Tuesday.
Okay.
Like I said, I've been going at it for 3 years now. And I've learned a lot just over the past 3 years as far as, for myself and also seeing those who support. So it's been an awesome adventure so far. And then the second podcast that I have is a new one that we started this year called Riff and Rev. And it's actually one of the guests that was on my podcast. We decided, let's do a podcast. So
Okay.
that one is also like a inspirational podcast too, but it also has like adventures, and
Okay.
then like we have been doing book interviews with authors. We've done two so far. So and what else have we done? We've been putting on concerts and stuff like that too. So it's not just the podcast, but it's a whole like production at the same
Okay.
time. So yeah, Tips Tuesdays and Riff and Rev.
So the second one sounds like it's probably right up your alley because you are also a performer, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And
So
then you
it's
also
all
do.
in one.
It's all in one. So you sing, you rap, you do poetry, or you write. What is your specialty?
I sing. I am a songwriter. I do dabble in the rap. Some people actually used to think I was a rapper, but I was just like, no, I ain't a rapper. I'm a singer, y'all, but I know how to do it. But yeah, I'm a singer, songwriter. You can say I'm a rapper. I am a minister of music. I play the keyboard, all that good stuff. So jack of all trades, I
I
guess.
jack a lot. Yeah. Do you have a certain artist that you emulate? Is there somebody? First of all, how long have you been singing?
I have been singing basically all of my life.
Okay.
Like I really didn't have a choice, but it was my choice.
Did you start in church when you say you've been singing all your life? Is that where you started? Was it church or
Yes,
was it
church.
okay?
My parents are very musically inclined. My mom,
Okay.
she was like one of the baddest musicians you'll ever meet, in my
Hmm.
eyes.
Okay.
I wish I would have learned how to play from her, but I didn't. But
Mhm.
She sang, she played all kinds of instruments because she played the piano, the guitar, the drums. She said she played the flute, all that good stuff. And then my
Wow.
dad, yeah, my dad, he's a songwriter, singer, um, songwriter, singer. I think like when he was in school, he went to like the performing arts school and stuff
Okay.
like that. So
Wow.
it's just in me
Yeah.
to why not music? So
Mhm. You've been
but
around it your
yeah,
whole life. That's what it
yeah,
is. You've been around it, and so
exactly.
you've taken your music, you've taken your skill, and you've taken your experience, and you kind of wrapped everything up into one ball, and you're using it for good. When you
Yes,
actually
sir.
get out here and you use that as your testimony to inspire and motivate other people. That's a beautiful thing to do because music is a very powerful thing. It can be used for good and it can be used for bad, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
depend on what perspective you're looking at music because right now we're in a very tumultuous time for rappers, famous rappers in particular, are kind of getting getting a bad rap for some of their past indiscretions, I want to say, that's catching up to. Hey, Jonathan Coleman, J. Cole is in the house today. Thank you for joining us, sir. Give you a shout out. Thank
What's
you very
up?
much.
What's up?
But yeah, that's the whole thing. We're experiencing, I think we're experiencing a shift in our musical, you know, genres, if you will, because things are definitely starting to change in so many ways, not just for rap, but it's
Yeah.
changing for country and R&B is having its comeback right now. But with regard to you, ma'am, I want to ask you something. What do you feel? How do you feel about the podcasters that are out now that are using their platform for to gain numbers, and the conversation is really not so wholesome? For example, not too long ago, we just had a podcaster who got sued by Cardi B
Mm,
for millions of dollars because of some of the false information that was put out about her, and she
mm.
won that lawsuit from my understanding, and was able to come back and do another lawsuit. People are getting
Wow.
paid obviously off the internet by numbers. The more numbers you get, the more money you get, obviously, the more followers you get, and so forth.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel, your authenticity should come through on a podcast? And how do you feel about podcasters who may only do certain subjects for the fame of it?
That right there, that's a good question. First of all, like that was one thing that I thought about when starting my podcast. I was like, what kind of podcast do I want? I mean, because we have a lot of those type of podcasts that you're talking about right now. And at the end of the day, I'm like, but what purpose is it serving? As far as that type of podcast, like I'm not even interested in those type of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
For the simple fact that I have other things in life to be worried about than what Cardi B got going on. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
right.
in my personal opinion, I really don't like those type of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So even like even since I've started my podcast and getting on other podcasts, I'll
Mm-hmm.
even ask, what type of podcast is this? Because what you link up with, that's people's image of you.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
so I'm very selective on what podcast I even get on.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Yeah.
that says enough right there, but yeah, I
Yeah.
I really don't see the purpose in it when it
Yeah.
comes
I
to
think
those type of
I
podcasts.
think I actually, it's really funny because now everybody's hopping on the podcast band. I have actually, like you go back quite some years. I actually started my first podcast called it was Glass City Talent, Beat Seat, and I had actually done probably about 15 years ago. And I look back and I'm like, you really have to be careful about your content and make sure that your content is genuine, and that unfortunately we live in a world right now where disparaging other people that's what catches people's attention. You know what I'm saying? We have a
Yeah.
situation where the more gossip you can create, whether it's true or it's untrue, then you get all the people who hop into that. Whereas you have a positive podcast like yours,
Yeah.
and then people, you wonder where people are. Jonathan just made a comment. Let's read it. It says, I mostly only listen to podcasts that I can learn from and get useful information. The only time I check out entertainment podcasts is when he does. It has to be a meaningful interview. I agree with you. And I don't like or listen to spill the tea type gossip shows. I'm with you on that, Jonathan. I really feel, we were raised in an era where if you didn't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
Right.
And we have a generation of people that have come along now, unfortunately, is motivated by a paycheck and by dollars, and social media makes it that way. The more listeners you get, the more, obviously you can collect bigger checks. And unfortunately, they don't do a spell check on the content of what these people are talking about. They're just, all they see is numbers, and you can drag people into this whole situation. And, that's a very dangerous position to be in, number one. And number two, how do you really sleep with yourself at night? Does it bother you? Does it bother you to gossip about other people? Because now, I'm gonna give you a classic example. We just had a woman who's been on for years, and all she did was gossip about people, and then the tables unfortunately turned on her, and now people are gossiping about her. And it's all on national news, and it's like, I feel sorry for her, but by the same token, that's the kind of tea, that's the kind of business that she dealt out. So as they say, if you can't drink the tea when it's hot, then get out the kitchen or something like that. And who really wants to have a podcast like that? Because you always have to be in somebody else's negative business. You know what I'm saying?
And I could just imagine that would be, that person probably wouldn't think in that moment that it is, but it's got to be draining because like it's toxic. It's its own form of toxic in a way.
Yeah. Exactly. But
You got to be feeding for that.
Some people like that toxicity. I don't get it, because some people love to keep some stuff going, but I'm with you on that. Jonathan, thank you for your comment. I completely agree with you, though. That spill the tea type gossip is like, really, I have often said, when you go and you spill the tea on somebody, do you know that person, number one? And do you just get bits and pieces off the internet of the negative things that are start gluing all this stuff together to create a whole new monster,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I'm like, I got my own business to tend to. I ain't got time to be tending to somebody else's business.
That's right. And you do a lot too. I checked you out, and I'm impressed with you. I will say that I'm very, very impressed. You have a lot of what do I want to say? I can tell you, number one, you're from a family that raised you properly, number one, okay, because you have a lot of positiveness about yourself, which is why, you probably do end up being this motivational type personality on social media. And I applaud you for that, because I try to be in that boat too. I really do. Sometimes we all get discouraged on some, respects or another. We get discouraged because, anything that we do, especially when it comes to trying to encourage someone else, people don't realize that you yourself need encouraging sometime, which is why I said it was a good thing that I brought you on, because I love to uplift other women, but I love when there's that interchange of encouragement. You know what I'm saying? That exchange. I like that. So now let's how do you bring your family life into your social media life, or do you kind of keep it separate from everything, or do you have support on that side of the road, or how does that work with you?
I think it kind of all aligns together. I'm a mother and a wife, an auntie, all of that good stuff, sister. So anytime you see anything like family wise on my page, it's usually intertwined with the things that I do anyways, whether it be, performance or my podcast or church. It usually all intertwines all together. So,
okay. You ever find yourself taking some of the information from church and carrying it over into your podcast lessons?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Oh yeah. If you watch the last episode for the did season one, episode one of season six, and it's one thing that my pastor always says that I end up probably saying in a good majority of my episodes about how you go through things. How you go through things will determine how long you're gonna be in that situation, and that's just something that has just like stuck with me. That's a something from my pastor that
Mm-hmm.
somehow, some way, it's gonna work itself in the episode, because how
Mm-hmm.
you go through a thing, it's gonna determine how long you're gonna be in that thing. And that's just the everyday application, because we moan and groan about the things going on in our lives, and there's people worse off than you. I was just talking about this at work. I'm sitting up here complaining about my job, but people just went through Hurricane Helena. Is it Helena or Helena?
My goodness, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yes, I definitely, yes. And a lot of times, when I'm at church, a lot of times, things are confirmed that I've already been thinking. You know how you might be thinking of something and you're like, that just sounds too good. I don't know if I want to put that out there yet. But then going to church, the preacher, he'll like confirm, and it's like, okay, you go and run with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely influence from the church definitely goes into my podcast.
So is there anything on your podcast that you won't talk about?
That I won't talk about, such as
Well, let's see here. You're a motivator. So most of what you talk about is positive, and we already just discerned that we're going to stay away from the gossip. But what about when it gets to the tough subjects? We have a big social issue with gun violence and young people dying. We have a huge discussion about young people and young couples now who are opting not to have children. What about those type of subjects? Do you tend to stay away from the local social problems that we have, or do you talk about the ones in your area?
I mainly, with my inspirational podcast, I mainly just stay on inspirational topics. But like if I'm on other podcasts, and I'll talk about those things, or I'll talk about it on my social media if it's something that I feel that needs to be talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Like for
Okay.
example, the whole thing with who, I do not want to get the lady's name wrong, the last lady that died to the police
Oh yeah. Okay.
in July, was it June or July? Like every now and then you might see like a post like that on my page, but I kind of just keep it to just inspirational and just was uplifting, because I believe that yes, there are things going on in the world, but then we're also constantly having to work on ourselves. If everybody was to just work on themselves,
Yeah.
we ain't got time to be in all the rest of the world issues and things like that. So yeah, that's what I would say to that.
Crystal Simpson said, "Hey, Crystal Simpson Webster." She said, "Hey, Tiffany."
That's my supporter right there. When I say top supporter,
Hey,
she there.
Crystal. Thanks for
Hey.
joining. So we're kind of in a climate right now where everybody, and this is the reason why I asked you that, because a lot of people, especially church folks, tend to steer away from the political situation that we have going on
Mhm.
now. And so no matter how many times I tried to kind of, drive that situation or that conversation one way, it still ends up coming back around. Because like I said, I really do believe that it's a thing that's up to you, and if you want to, it's just so controversial now, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And it's unfortunately is becoming a dangerous situation to even talk about politics nowadays.
Mhm.
So I just really just wanted to know how you deal with that, because I'm quite sure it has to come up, especially around now because it is election season. I just
It
want to know how you dealt with that.
It does. And when it comes to politics, first of all, I don't talk about politics. Second of all, I really don't keep up with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Third of all, I'm the type of person that if you're not going to keep up with it, in my own opinion, you should not be voting.
Okay. And the
If you're
lady
not
has
keeping up with
voted.
it, if you're not keeping up with it, because what it is just imagine if there's 10 people, and say 5 of those people know nothing about what's going on, yet they're voting. They have a good weight on the other 5 that may vote against or for. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like a lot of people, they're not paying attention, but yet you're going to go out here and vote. Now, this is not me saying don't go out and vote. Do not think that I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if you're not paying attention, you need to start paying attention if you're going to vote. You know, so
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. You know, a lot of people have that same sentiment. Crystal just posted up a couple of different sites on Spotify for us all to check out. And my good friend Shawana Wynn, what's up, girl? I'm so looking forward to see you when you hit back to Toledo. That is a worldwide traveler right there. She says we're taught to leave politics in so many professions. Yeah. It's becoming a very contentious thing to talk about politics right now. But you know, I think no matter what's going on in the world, if you have your head on straight and you have your heart right, you know, a lot of that is it almost borders having no discussion about it because you know right from wrong. you know right from wrong. And it certainly is no reason for us to inflict violence on another person or to harm other people because of their beliefs or what have you, because everybody, as we say, everybody in the world's got a different opinion and they're entitled to that, you know. And for us to step up and cross a line and tell people what they are and are not entitled to, well, that's wrong in itself. And so that's all we're going to talk about as far as politics are concerned.
I'm honest. I'm a very honest person. I don't pay attention to that. I don't have time to pay attention to it. And then I kind of just have the mentality that it is what it is, and that's all it's going to ever be. This is a forever battle that we've been dealing with. You know what I mean? It just is a different face. You know what I mean? Same issues, different face.
Yeah. Thank you, Shawana. I appreciate you, and thank you for your support, and thank you for tuning in. Shawana and I go back way, way, way back, and she has always been an inspiration to me. She was in Toledo, and when she was here, she worked very heavily with the community as well. And so I do miss her, and she's going to come back and visit Toledo at some time. But where you are right now is where you're supposed to be, ma'am, and make the most of it. That's what I can say. Make the most of where you are right now. All right, lady, we are at our 6:24 hour now. I did tell you, and I do this, and it is up to you if you want to do this or not, because I do know that you are a performer. And I do know, oh, yep, Shawana's in Virginia. Hey, Virginia, VA. That's right. Come on into the house. There you go. Hey, girl, hope you're safe down there in the South. I hope you're doing okay, because I know y'all getting some rough weather down there. So make sure you stay safe, because I guess from what I hear, they got some more stuff coming through. So be very, very careful, okay? Crystal said, get out and vote, but definitely educate yourself. God, education is the key, Miss Lady. Yes, it is.
There you go.
All right, Missy, we're going to go ahead and put you on the spot. I want to know who your favorite artist is, and I'd like if you have one, and I want to, or you can do your own personal piece. But I'd like to hear a little acapella from you.
Okay, so she asked what my favorite artist is. My favorite artist, I would say number one, Alicia Keys.
Oh yeah, good choice.
Yeah, and I was gonna do one of her songs, but I'm gonna do mine. This is one of my songs that I have out right now. Which one I want to do? Okay, here we go. You've been going through some things, been through heartaches and pain. You gotta know that God is there through the fire and the rain. You gotta keep your head up when life gets tough. You gotta keep your head up. Don't give up. You should walk by faith and not by sight. And you will know that everything will be all right. You should walk by faith and not by sight. And you will know that everything will be all right.
I love that.
Y'all can go and hear that on all streaming platforms. Just put in TIPHANI. That's from my
Mm-hmm.
latest EP, Same Old Praise.
That's nice. And you know what? Crystal has posted some stuff up for you as well. Thank you, Crystal, for putting that up. Thank you. Miss Pretty Girl Mac, so happy to see you, girl. Shawana Wynn said you did a beautiful job on that song,
Thank
lady. I do agree.
you.
Yeah. We got another. We have a lot of really powerful ladies online tonight. I'm happy to see each and every one of you guys. I should have brought all of y'all up here. Thanks for tuning in, ladies. We do appreciate you guys. So Tiffany, is there Tiffany says make sure you post your music on MudMade All Stars. Okay, they do that on that site. And it's got a pretty good following over there. So after the
Okay.
you know what? Pretty Girl Matt, can you put that up for her? Put the link up for her, okay? So she can put her music on over there, okay? Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you. And then Tiffany said, that's my girl. Y'all better go check her. Not Tiffany, but Crystal. Crystal said, that's my girl. Y'all better go check her out. Pretty Girl Mac is going to go ahead and put the link up in there for you too, okay? All right.
Yes,
so we're at
27
hours. Let me have you go ahead and do your shout outs, Miss Lady.
Look, I always on this part. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody following. Big shout out to Mr. Jonathan Coleman because without him we wouldn't have this link up right here. But shout out to all my people that support me. Shout out to people in the comments. Really be doing the same. Shout out to my husband. He in here. I know he in here listening to something. But my husband and my son and everything. Everybody that support Tiffany in all endeavors, whether it be the podcast, singing, everything. So, but go follow, subscribe, like, share, everything. Go to everything is Tiffany Music. Tiffany Music, all social media. Go and check out everything. Follow me, and I'm just grateful to be here tonight.
Everybody, one more time. When is your show? When does your shows air, and where can they tune in to see your show on Tuesdays?
Okay, so on Tuesday evenings, 9 p.m. Central Time, you can check out Tips Tuesdays live rehash. Also, I release an episode on all streaming platforms for podcasts every Tuesday. Tips Tuesdays.
Perfect. And Crystal mentioned TNT show coming up in November.
TNT show coming up November 16th. Y'all follow my Facebook page or Instagram page. Just say SME Tiffany. You'll see the flyer for all the events I got coming up. We got a few events coming up. So, yeah.
Excellent.
November 16th, TNT, if you're in the Conway area.
There you go. Well, you know what? Listen, I am so happy you joined me tonight. I definitely see why you are an encouraging, motivational speaker. I would tell you something else. You have a beautiful smile. Your smile alone just makes me just keep my eye right there on your on your personality right there. Yeah, and that sometimes the smile is all it takes. Sometimes that. Yeah. So thank you again, Tiffany, for being on my show. DebraSue, thanks you so very, very much. And I'm looking forward to having you again in the future. And then go ahead and invite me over to your spot, okay?
Oh, definitely. We're gonna get it. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So listen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We have a half-hour show. We're just going over just a little tiny bit because of our special guest, because I had to hear her beautiful voice and her beautiful song. Make sure you join me, DebraSue, every Thursday right here on Facebook at DebraSue, as well as Facebook Toledo to the World with DebraSue. Or you can travel on over to Instagram. It is DebraSue over there, Glass City Talent. And over on YouTube, it's Glass City Talent / Toledo to the World. So you can also check me out on Roku. I'm on the Roku channel as well. So make sure you join me, you guys. And if you want to be on my show, make sure you inbox me, because I'm happy to have, especially powerful women like this one that's on right now. I love to have encouraging people on my show, and I like to have she's from out of town. She's not even from Toledo. So Toledo has reached out and touched the world today, and we brought Virginia into our little our area of the world. So we're so happy to have you guys here.
Arkansas, so Arkansas.
Arkansas. I'm sorry. Shawana is in Virginia. I do apologize. Yeah. So, oh girl, yeah, Arkansas. We done bought Arkansas all the way over to this. I love that. Okay, everybody. Again, thank you all for joining, and we will see you all next week. And Miss Tiffany, I'm sure I'll be talking to you before then. Thanks for joining, you guys. We're going to tune out now. You all have a good night, okay? Bye-bye.